Hey, Marcy Berger, how are
Hi,
you?
good. How are you doing?
Good. I just realized I don't have my white shirt on today, but we'll
It's all
fake it
right.
while I get all
We're
this
going
set.
rogue
We're
today.
going rogue. So I want to make a little video
Okay.
on a topic. I'm going to call it how to ask for 100% financing. We do some deals that are 100% financing. Not every deal, again, not every deal, but some deals. Oh, let me turn off my phone. Don't.
Making a lot of noise
I
here
know.
today.
I'm sorry. I'm making noise. Oh, I put it on something. Oh, don't forget to like our YouTube video and subscribe to the channel. I always forget that. So I want to talk about, a borrower sees maybe one of our videos, sees 100% financing. They take a course, how to buy properties with no money down,
Right.
100% financing, but they don't really present it, to be candid with you. Some don't present it in the best way.
How to get 100%
Yeah.
financing.
So the
Yes.
typical is someone will call me up, and I'm sure you two are sending an email.
Right.
I always look at you when we're doing things.
I know,
So
but look
I
there.
know, but I feel like I'm talking to you, but I'm really talking to everyone else. So I will look away from you, Marcy. I apologize. So really, what happens is someone will call up and they say, I have no experience. My credit's lousy. I have no income. Oh, but I took a course for $299 and they told me I can get 100% financing. And by the way, there's no risk to you as the lender. You know, as a lender, how do you think that really sounds? I'm being very honest with you. It sounds terrible. We have no confidence in when
Well,
someone
it
says
just
it.
sounds like they don't know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
That's what it is.
So really what I want to talk about on this video is if they're looking for 100% financing, we do a lot of 100% financing deals, how you present it and how does it look from a lender? So instead of saying what I said, I have no experience, I have lousy credit, I have no income, and by the way, I'm going to live on your draw money for repairs to take my family to Bermuda, which a lot of them do. Look about it from the lender's point of view. Look at it from a different paradigm. Maybe instead of saying I have no money and I have lousy credit and blah 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 blah, maybe you call up the lender and you say you have other collateral to cross-collateralize the loan with, or you and a partner are buying this and the partner has other collateral, so you can cross-collateralize your loan and be fully protected. Remember, to be candid with you, all a lender cares about is protecting our investment. Look, honestly, we care about you, but we care about our money more. That's just the reality. No matter what anyone
So
says.
let's break it down so it's
Let's
really,
break it down.
really simple.
So
to get to 100% financing, exactly what Jack said, to add other properties to the deal, which we call those blanket loans.
cross-collateralization, blanket loans,
So
seller seconds, or another way is if you have the property under agreement of sale well below the market. So give you I'm just going to talk numbers. This is actually a deal. I was just talking to the borrower. We did a couple of years ago. A guy bought a property. I think it was an industrial property. It was our second or third deal from the borrower outside. I think it was one of the big. I think O'Hare in Chicago, and he bought it for, let's say, 100 grand. And I think it was worth 200 or 250. So he bought it below the market. So if he would have called up and said, "Look, I'm buying a property for 100,000. I want 100,000," it doesn't sound so appetizing from a lender's perspective. It sounds very risky. But in this case, and a lot of this is semantics, it's really presentation. But presentation's important. Like, don't think it's not. It's very important. In this case, what happened was he says, Jack, I got a fantastic deal on a property that I'm going to be able to sell for 250,000. I only paid 100,000 for it. Would you lend me the 100,000? And in this case, we did lend. We figured it out. We lent him the 100,000. He closed on the deal, and I think he sold it for 2.25 or 240 or whatever it was. We got paid off. So there's a difference in presenting it. If you would have, and that's really what I want to focus, because I don't think people present it well. I think, to be candid with you, I don't think it's their fault. I just think no one really took the time to educate them. So I'm not criticizing anyone. But so it's the way you present it to the lender. And let's just use that example. If you call a lender, you call Gelt or another lender and said, "Hey, I found this fantastic property. I think it's worth 250. Maybe it's worth 2.25. I got it a steal for $100,000 at an auction. Will you lend me the $100,000 on it?" We look at that as give or take a 50% leverage. So you could look at it and say it's 100% loan to value. It is, but we look at it and say the property's worth 200,000 and we're going to lend 100,000. So it's the way you present it is a lot more, it's very important. Another thing is, and I'm sure you run into this all the time. I apologize. I'll look here. I won't look at you, but I'll talk to you. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at you through here. So it's kind of like I'm looking at you. People all the time say it's a no risk deal. What do you have to lose? Honestly, when borrowers say that, and I don't, the purpose of this is not to criticize borrowers,
No,
it's
it's
to
just to
educate
educate and to
borrowers
present the
and
information
brokers.
correctly.
Yes. That sounds nicer. But when a borrower or broker calls up and say, it's no risk, you have nothing to lose, it's impossible to lose money on this. To be candid with you, a lender, it doesn't come off so well. The reality is, everyone walks down the aisle in marriage thinking their marriage is made in heaven and it's blessed under the gods or the sun, but 50% of them don't work out. I don't know the failure rates now, but prior to COVID, I think 70% of new businesses failed within 2 years. So, when people say that, oh, there's no risk, you have nothing to lose, it's impossible to lose,
But
you're not
we've been,
looking at the whole thing.
right.
To be
But
candid
you've
with
been
you,
doing
being
this a
naive.
long time.
Well, I'm
So,
trying to
yeah.
use my experience.
So
and
we're just trying to tell you like what tools that you
am I
need.
coming off too tough on people?
Yeah, a little. Just
I apologize. I don't mean to
a
come off.
little.
I want
Okay,
no.
so
But
just like,
my point isn't to come on top on them. It's to try to educate them.
right.
There's risk in everything you do. If you walk outside, there's risk. You're going to get hit by lightning. And people who don't realize the risks of doing things, they don't have the experience level. So what I'm saying is, if you don't have the money, which nothing wrong with that. By the way, I started out not having money, and I still do 100% financing deals. We're getting ready to buy. I don't want to go into details now because it's not signed, but we're negotiating a PSA, which we're getting 100% financing. So nothing wrong with it at all. I use it all. But really, what I'm saying, you're right, Marcy. I'm saying that some people who take these courses, it sounds not nice, but are naive. I'm trying to help them.
We're
I'm
just
taking
trying
my
for
time
you
to help them.
present all the right information to us. Then we can make a decision whether it is risky or it's not.
So my point is, there's risk in everything.
Absolutely.
So when you say to a lender, there's no risk or you can't lose or blah, 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 doesn't sound great. What I would say instead is, because of X, Y, and Z, your risks are mitigated, or your risks should be acceptable risk because there's other collateral, or because the seller is holding a big second mortgage, your risks are minimal. So again, you have
or
to.
if there's like a really long-term tenant that's been in there and there's a long lease.
100%.
There's so many different ways of looking at something and making it strong.
So I would deal in the world of risk mitigation, which I think is much more realistic than, oh, I can't lose. There's, the reality is there's a million gurus out there who are selling all kinds of stuff on internet and Twitter and all these places, how to make money and follow me. And I do this. And I watch them on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. I have to tell you, a couple of them are our borrowers. In fact, we wound up foreclosing on one of them. A lot of this is hogwash. I'm just going to be candid with you. They're selling you something. It's not as easy, and a lot of people lose a lot of money in real estate. The past 10 years, have been fantastic. It's been very hard to lose money, but just be a little cautious with it. But my point is, when you go to a lender, understand that a lender is going to see risks, no matter what you say. You may not see the risk. You may be blinded because of your love of the deal and your desire to make money. And I've been blinded that way too. I want to make money and I want it to be a success so much that I'm blinded to the risk, but there's risk. So what I would do is, when you're talking to lenders and really or investors, investors, talk about ways to mitigate the risk. Talk about ways to minimize the risk, but recognize that there are risks in everything, right?
Right. But when you gather all the information, what we're trying to say to you is see the risks before you present the deal to a lender. So that way you have all the information and you can come back and say, well, what about this or what about that?
Be prepared to, Marcy's right, see the risks up front, literally make a checklist of the risks and figure out how those risks can be mitigated to a lender. If a tenant leaves, you'll lease it to somebody else. If this happens, this will happen, so on and so forth. You have enough cash reserves. I guess my point is, there's ways, there's nothing wrong with getting 100% financing.
And we do offer it.
We do
with
offer it.
different circumstances.
I get it when I'm a buyer sometimes I don't. But be cognizant of how you're requesting it and present yourself in the best light forward. And as I said in the beginning, don't come off, if you come off not understanding the risks, a lender, whether it be Gelt or someone else, is going to say, this
We're
guy's,
gonna hesitate.
they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But rather deal with the risks, identify the risks, know they're there up front, and
Mhm.
find a solution to mitigate the risks. And this way, if something happens, you'll be protected. And there's a lot you can do to mitigate those risks. Let's talk about 100% financing now. So some of the ways we do it are seller seconds, cross-collateralization
Yeah.
blankets. That's huge, huge.
And we've even done deals where there's
What
been
else?
a lease option purchase. A lot of those type of deals, the price that's on it is from years and years and years ago. So we'll sometimes finance 100% of whatever's the sales price is from a lease option. And it's worth so much more now. So
And-
that's why we're comfortable with it.
And a lot of private money lenders don't look at loan to value per se. We look at leverage. So the example I gave, a guy buying a property by the Chicago airport, remember, he paid 100, was
Sold
worth
it for 250 or
250.
whatever.
So that's a great way. Buy a property under the market. Now you have to realize, from a lender's perspective, if you go on Zillow or Crexy or any of these places, and it's on the open market, and you're buying it for 200 grand, don't just tell the lender, oh, it's worth 400 grand.
No, because it's out there.
Yeah, and there has to be a reason why you're buying it under the market. Again, if the property needs work, if it's really an off-market deal, or if it's an auction. But every deal is not an off-market deal. I was talking
And
to
they're
some.
getting harder and harder to find.
I was talking to someone the
They
other
really
day,
are.
and I said, "Where'd you get the deal?" They said, "An off-market deal." I said, "How'd you find out about it?" A realtor called me about it, and I said, "Well,
Then it's not off market.
yeah." I googled it. It was on the market.
Right.
So just because someone says it's an off-market deal, so there has to be a reason to it. Really, you know what this all comes down to, Marcy? Honestly, educate themselves.
Right, you have to know
You
the
have to be
truth.
educated. Tell the truth. Also, it would be foolhardy and a mistake to not tell the lender the whole story, or your investor, because I'm assuming you're going to be pitching this deal to capital investors, and we do that as well. Tell them everything up front. Would be foolharted. What's the word? Foolharted.
Or all in.
Well, whatever the word is,
Yeah.
don't assume they won't find out, because a lot of times they will find out. And I tell you, a lot of deals die because borrowers don't tell and brokers aren't candid with their lenders up front. If you're candid up front, you'll get the deal a little more. Educate yourself. That's really what it comes down to. Learn the values in the neighborhood you're buying. Learn the rental absorption. Learn expenses. What a fair expense load is for the property. What else should they learn? Learn how to calculate the numbers.
Absolutely. And
Debt
know
service
your borrower
coverage.
too. Know your borrower. Like when you take a client on, and you need to know their whole story.
Well, that's
know,
true if
Because
you're a
if
broker.
their story,
Educate
Yeah,
yourself, but
yeah.
mortgage borrowers and real estate investors need to educate themselves. And educating yourself is not by just taking
it's going to make you not make a mistake. I mean, that's the truth. Like, you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to lose money. You want to make money. So know all your facts up front before you make a decision,
So you think,
or present it to a lender.
okay, so we're into this for 10 minutes or so.
Right.
We
Maybe
wasted
it's
20
enough.
minutes of our time. I don't want to say wasted. How do we do it? I was too tough on people.
Nah, I think you're all right. We're just speaking our truth, and the truth's going to educate you and make you more successful.
Okay, so how do we summarize it? You give your
Well-
ladies first. You give your summary, then I'll. Summarize the
when you
answer.
present the deal to whatever lender, make sure you know what you can do with it. I mean, if there is other collateral, if the property is valued more than you're paying for it, know your risks. Just know your risks. Look at every angle of the deal. And when we ask questions, or any lender, have an answer and know what you're talking about. Know what you're talking about. I think that's the most important thing.
What are we talking about again? What's your summary?
We're talking
No,
about
I'm joking. I know. I'm
100%
teasing. I'm
financing.
trying to add some
How?
levity.
Yes,
Did you
how
notice
you
I wheeled
present
my
it.
chair back to
Yes,
you? I
yes.
tried to add some levity here, right? Again, Marcy's right. Know what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Educate yourself. Don't take shortcuts. Too many people take shortcuts, and it's going to come back and bite you. You're going to lose money. It's going to come back and bite you, and you're going to waste time.
And no one wants to lose money. I mean, the
No one
whole
wants to
point
lose money.
is to make money.
You can. I want to be a proponent. I'm going to look Cleo's closest. You can get. You're going to see all my age marks. You can get 100% financing, whether it be through a lender or through an equity partner or a JV partner. You absolutely can. Tons and tons and tons and tons of deals are done that way. In fact, you'd be amazed at how many deals are done that way. But you really have to be on your game. Educate yourself. Know what you're doing. Know the risk. Don't be naive. Don't be foolhardily. Don't
And don't believe anyone. I mean, you really have to check their facts. I'm serious. It's amazing what goes on. You have to watch everything. You really do.
Okay, so look, I hope we provided some education for you. Again, if I was too tough on you, I apologize. I don't mean to be critical of any person, but I want everyone to be successful. So again, I didn't mean to come off too tough. I just like to see people succeed, and you're going to have to pay the price. Don't try to take shortcuts for it. Remember, we're doing non-bank loans. Let's selfless plug. Self-understood or signed there. Check us out, Gelt Financial. Non-bank loans, 100,000 to 3 million. Bridge, short-term 1 to 5 year deals. JV equity, debt and equity. We'll do auction financing. We'll do 100%. We love working with real estate investors. We absolutely love it. They're just invigorating. They're smart. They're creative. They're what America's built on, and I think we need to encourage them. And that's what we're trying to do here. So like the YouTube, and leave your questions and comments, and we'll answer them.
Nice
We leave
talking
anything
to you
else?
today. No. Everyone have a great day, and on to the next subject.
On to the next subject. Take care.